Hey, what's up everyone? This is Austin Payne with Alta Labs. Today we're talking about Auto VPN and Alta Connect, two new features that make it easy to set up WireGuard site-to-site VPN tunnels. Auto VPN is more of an improvement over the previous method of configuring site-to-site tunnels, while still providing you full control of the configuration. Alta Connect, on the other hand, is a new opinionated way to set up hub and spoke, or star, and mesh VPN topologies. Let's get started by looking at Auto VPN. I'm going to jump into my home site. You'll find Auto VPN in the same location as previous VPN configurations. So here under clients/S2S, I'm going to click plus. You'll see the new Auto Connect dropdown is at the very top. This is populated with all the sites that you have access to. So in this case, I want to create a VPN tunnel from my home to my office. So I'm going to click office as the remote. If I had more routers at the office, I could select them here, but in this case I just have the one. And other than that, all the config has been automatically populated for me. This config is going to work for most setups, but you can change all the settings if you desire. So I can change the ports on either side, I can change IP addresses if I wanted a different layout, even public keys and host names. So let's go ahead and click save. So now that I've created the VPN, this has been propagated to both my home router and the office router. So here on the home side, I can see the office VPN set up there. And if we jump over to the office site, we can take a look at its VPN config, which now has the home's VPN. So let's go ahead and open this up and make some edits. As I edit this, it'll change both the office config and the home config. One other big advantage to doing it this way is we now get visibility into the VLANs or subnets that are on each site. So over here in my office, on the home side, I've got 192.168.1, and on the office side, I've got 192.168.2. So let's say I wanted to do a custom one, and I wanted to do 192.168.0.0, and I wanted this really wide. So here we can see that this is automatically detecting an overlap because I'm doing a /22 here. Most of the time, these sort of overlaps are going to cause connectivity issues on WireGuard tunnels, and so we warn you about it. But occasionally, in rare circumstances, this is maybe a config that you do want. So let me go back and set that back. Let's say I wanted to change this IP here, and I can go ahead and click save. So that's going to propagate to my home office, my office router, and the home router. And that's it. These now are managed as a group. I don't have to really remember the configurations between them. I can just come in here and edit one of them whenever I wanted to change both of them. That should make managing single site-to-site tunnels much more easy. Let's go ahead and delete this before we move on. This will delete both router configs. So once I delete here, that'll also delete over on the home side. Okay, now let's take a look at the much more powerful, yet simpler Alta Connect. Alta Connect lets you wire up one-to-many and many-to-many VPN tunnels with ease. Since this feature spans multiple sites, we have it over here in the Site Manager. At the top, you can see Alta Connect here. So currently I have no VPN groups, but let's get started and create one. A VPN group is going to represent a group of routers and a specified topology that they use. So here I'm going to call this my home office VPN group. And I'm just going to choose the mesh topology. Mesh is going to create n-1 tunnels for every router. Basically, every router creates a tunnel to every other router. This is great for redundancy. I don't have a single point of failure, but it does require all routers to be reachable to all other routers. So now I'm going to add a router to this group. The config is equally similar. It's even simpler than the previous config. Most of these things have been moved in advanced. Again, you can configure them if you want, but by default, most of this is going to work for most configurations. Same as before, I'll have subnet dropdowns. I can pick the subnets from this site that I want routed over this tunnel, but for now, I'm just going to go ahead and click on through. Let's go ahead and add my office router now. The same sort of detection works here. So if I create a overlapping tunnel, I'm going to get warnings about it. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and select the one subnet on this site. So once I've got my group created, I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Now it may not look very interesting since I only have 2 routers, but you can create many more. You can add many more routers to this group. I only have 2 sites here, but if I needed to add more, I can go ahead and click Add Routers and go through the same process. What's nice about this is the config is very per router centric, so you don't really need to think about what the pairings are between these. They'll be automatically paired on a mesh topology for all the routers in the site. Same as Auto Connect, if you modify something here, it'll automatically propagate to all the other routers in the group. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's say I don't like this IP here. I'm going to hit Save to the group. Because of the implications here, this is saving config not just to this one router, but to all the routers. You're going to get a warning asking if you want to proceed, as you may get some momentary connectivity loss, usually no more than a couple seconds. So let's click yes. This will push this to the whole group. And that's pretty much it. Now, you have to have at least 2 routers in a group for it to be a useful group. And so if I go ahead and delete one here, because I only have 2, removing one of them such that there's only 1 left will automatically delete the group, and I'll get a warning about that. Let's go ahead and delete this group. Now let's take a look at a star topology. So I'm going to create a new group here, call it Home Office Star, and change my topology to star, or hub and spoke. Same as before, I'm just going to add routers to this group. I'm going to add my home router, and then I'm going to add my office router. Really, the only config difference here is that I can now choose which one is my hub. So right now it's the home router. I'm going to choose my office router as the hub. The other obvious difference here is it's a star topology. So there will be n-1 tunnels on the office router and only 1 tunnel on the home router. So the office router will have a tunnel to all the other routers, but each spoke router will only have 1 tunnel. This is great if you have a single server, a single router that is more central to the others, or a lot of your spokes are behind NAT. That way you can have your NAT routers reach out to a central router that is on a public IP address. So let's go ahead and click Save on this one. And in almost all other ways, it's the same as a mesh setup. We'll get hub and spoke indicators here, just so you know which one is the hub and which one is the spoke. But same thing here, if I add any of this config, it'll automatically get pushed to all the other routers. A final note on Alta Connect is that because it spans multiple sites, you must be an admin on every other site in order to create and modify VPN groups. So if you had access to a router or one of the sites in a group, you would still see the group, but you'd get a warning here that tells you you can't edit it or modify it or delete it because you're not an admin on all of the sites. If that happens, you'll need to reach out to a group admin that has access to all the sites in order to make any changes or get promoted to an admin for all the sites in the group. And that's all I have for you today. Keep an eye on this feature as it improves. We already have plans to add status indicators for both site VPNs and VPN clients, which will be coming soon. As always, we're very interested in your guys' feedback, so please let us know over in the forums what you'd like to see next.